This is Unit 2, Video 4 on variables on both sides. So on my first equation here, I notice that there are two variables, one on the left side and one on the right side. Well, when we solve these equations, we need them to be on the same side. So again, here's my first one, and then here's my 4x as well. Generally, I like to not work with negatives, but that's your choice if you feel like you can handle it and move the 4x to the left. But for this example, I'm going to move the negative x to the right side. So when we do that, we're going to just add the x over. So when we do that, we have 32 left over equals 4x plus 1x. Remember, that has to change. It can't stay 4. So 4x and 1x is 5x plus 17. Now this is just a regular two-step equation like we've done before. So again, my variable term is right here. I have to move the 17 first. And so we're going to do the opposite. It says plus 17, so I'm going to subtract 17. Well, 32 minus 17 is, let's see, 15. And then finally, we are going to divide by 5 because we want to isolate the variable. So in this problem, x is equal to 3. Here, it's asking us to solve the equation as well as provide the property for each step. So let's go ahead and determine which side do we want our variables to be located on. It's because there is a variable on both sides of the equal sign. Again, there's where they're at. And same thing like I did on the other one, I'm going to move the negative, the minus 2.9, I'm going to move that to the left so I don't have to worry about negatives. Again, you can choose to move the 2.3 over if you want to. Well, 2.3 plus 2.9, when we add those together, that would be 5.2. Okay, so we're left with negative 2.14. And again, it's a two-step equation. But before we do that, what did I do in my first step? Well, I added on both sides. So that's the addition property of equality. I'm just going to say addition here. On my next step here, again, here's my variable term. So that 4.1 has to be moved to the right side. Well, I'm going to subtract 4.1 from both sides. Make sure you line up the decimals if you're not using a calculator so we can do the adding or subtracting here. When I do that, I'm left with 5.2y still. And then negative 2.14 minus 4.1, we're going to add them together since they're both negatives. So that is going to be negative 6.24. So what step did I do to get 5.2y equals negative 6.24? Well, again, I subtracted on both sides. So that's the subtraction property of equality. I'm just going to write subtraction. Finally, to finish this off, we have our variable there. We have to divide on both sides by 5.2. When I divide by 5.2, let's see here, 6.24 negative 6.24 divided by 5.2 is equal to negative 1.2. So y is equal to negative 1.2. And again, we divided on both sides here, so this is the division property of equality. On this example here, we notice we have a bunch of variables, 2 on the left side and 1 on the right side. So, before I really start doing the inverse operations, I like to simplify first. So let's simplify 3z and negative 5z before we really get started here. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2z. Minus 4 equals negative 2z plus 6. Now we can move our variables on the same side. If you notice, it doesn't really matter which one we move because they're the same one. They're both negative 2z's. So we just pick one, and we're just going to add 2z because we want to get them together. But if you think about that, what happens? Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So we're really just left with negative 4 equals 6. Well, if you recall from video 1, this is a false statement. I'm just going to write that here. This is false. So what does that mean in terms of solving equations if we end up with a false statement? Well, that means we have no solution here. So my answer to this is no solution. If, for instance, you did an equation and you had negative 4 equals 4, negative 4 equals negative 4, that would be true, so this would be all real numbers. So you can see that every now and then. Here on the story problem, we're going to try to make an equation to help us solve here. So let's read this here. A backpack company spends $1,400 each day for overhead expenses, plus $25 per backpack labor and materials. The backpacks sell for $39 each. How many backpacks must the company sell in one day to equal its daily costs? All right, so this is a typical breaking even problem where we're trying to determine how many backpacks have to be sold so that the cost is equal to the profit. Okay, so let's look at our problem. Let's determine those things. Well, it says the company spends $1,400 each day. That's a cost, okay? It also, some expenses are $25 per backpack. That's also a cost. So that's the cost part of the equation we have here. So we have $1,400 each day. That doesn't depend on how many backpacks are made. It's just a flat fee, flat rate, $1,400. Okay, it also says, again, $25 per backpack. So we're adding that into it. So plus, we're going to use the variable B for backpacks because that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out the number of backpacks here. So we're going to use B there. Sorry about that. Okay. So to finish off our cost, we have 25B. Now let's move to the profit part. It says the backpacks sell for $39 each. That's our profit. Okay. So that's 39B when we write that out, because it's 39 for each backpack. It's easy to determine if you sell 2 backpacks. You just take 39 times 2. All right, so it's 39B. And now we have our equation here that we're going to solve. So as you see, the left side has 2 terms, the right side has only 1 term. You really don't ever want to take the term that has the fewest. Sorry, you don't want to take the side that has the fewest terms and move it. So for instance, you don't want to move the 39B to the left. We are going to want to move the 25B over. It's not wrong, but it takes more steps if you did it that way. So we're left with 1400 here equals 39 minus 25, that is 14B. And finally, we're going to divide to solve for B. Well, 1400 divided by 14 is going to be 100. So, how many backpacks is it? It's 100 backpacks. So if you sold 101 backpacks, that means you made a profit. If you sold 99 backpacks, then you didn't cover the cost, so you actually lost some money.